Now we have the question about Jupiter and Venus Yuti or aspect. Very nice yoga. I call it wise and cool, right? The wise and Jupiter, the coolness is coming from the Venus. And Jupiter is that wealth coming from ability, and Venus is that vision and eye, which is representing both art and prediction. Vision as seeing something in the future. So can you be good at that if you don't have artistic ability? Maybe not. Also, we know that this left brain people, right brain people, this is quite a myth. Neuroscience is at very early stage because of this individual variability. The sciences are intertwined, and also there is the brain is quite complex. But this Jupiter yogas is very nice because this could add some confirming layer to, for example, Lord's yogas. Like you have some kind of lordship intent, which is showing the source of wealth. Like you have fourth Lord intent, you can give money from property or food, depending how the other karakas are blessing. But then you can also see the Jupiter, and you can confirm how the lords in the chart, how they are giving wealth. Because then you will have same area controlled by two levels in chart analysis. So this is how we should be doing the Jyotish. So Jupiter is the Dana Karaka, the wealth significator or patron archetype idea, depending how you look at it. Some are saying it's a Venus because the Venus is natural loading the second house, but this is Naisargika Bhava Karaka. This is something else. The main controller is the Naisargika Karaka. This is the hand of God. This is the fortune and blessing. So this is the Jupiter. And they are different types of wealth. We have financial, real estate, intellectual, networking. This is giving the wealth from ability. And like they say, the knowledge is the power. We even have this quote from Bertolt Brecht, hungry men reach for a book, it is a weapon. So this is also the whole philosophy of Jupiter. The source is coming from ability, from knowledge, from understanding, from the wisdom. So when the knowledge is growing up to that line, when it can be transformed into wealth or income or how you sustain yourself, then we say that this person becomes pandita, having some form of intellectual profession. Now the question is about the levels. Can you tell the difference between the 7th house, 7th lord, A7 in the Navamsha and upapada? So why complicate things, right? Let's take the Venus and its placement in the chart. Venus with Jupiter, partner will be wealthy, also religious, at best, pure devotee, multimillionaire. Venus with the Saturn, old or sick, at best, hardworking. We can take even the houses. Venus with the 10th house, spouse, hardworking, wealthy, right? So many people are doing that. It's wrong. We know it's wrong. So just like in medicine, right? We have substance-based studies like morphology. And then if you get some pointers, some suspicion that you should go in that direction, you can open the spatial-centered studies like tomography, MRI, and see if your suspicion is confirmed, right? And if you connect these two studies, then you will get some nice information about what is problematic in your body. So the same thing we are doing in Vedic astrology. We are taking many layers and we can get better understanding of what's going on with the person, with the marriage in this case. You could compare it to a resolution or a bit rate, right? The one bit rate which is very low, you hardly see what's there in the image. It's like having only Venus information. If you have Venus and the 7th Lord, it's like a 5-bit, right? You can see some frames, some contours of the picture, so you have some guesses of what's going on. If you add the Arudha and the upapada and the Varga, then you will have definitely more information about what's going on. So you have then a full clarity of the picture. So now if we go step by step, 7th house, attitude, 7th Lord, interaction, and also how your attitude and experience is changing with interaction with that person, which is the spouse or partner, or with other people. So after interaction, your attitude, your thinking may change. Upapada is all about the contract and how it was set. 7th house in the Navamsha is the spouse as an independent person. So in the Navamsha, we are having much more information about the independent dynamic in the marriage. But in the Rasi chart, we can get more information how the marriage area is intertwined with other areas. For example, lack of experience, or for example, experience abroad, or impact on career and finances, or how other people in your life, like students or friends, have somehow connected roles, or how the mission is intertwined between those people. A7 would be all relationship, and A7 in Navamsha, it's the Arudha of the spouse. So this short definitions should give you some map which planets, because these points will be taken by different planets, different yogas. But it's very good because that is enabling you to get more information and therefore to build more complex picture. And we know life is complex, so you also need to have more points to adjust to that complexity of life. The next question is about super wealthy yogas in the chart. So Kahneman and Deaton, they made a very interesting observation or research. In 2000 something, it was $70,000 per year. This is the line above which you are not observing some kind of increase of happiness. So you need to have your basic needs fulfilled. And I have counted the inflation, it was $97,000 in year. And that would be $8,000 per month. So if you are earning more than 8,000, it doesn't change anything when it comes to your level of satisfaction or happiness. Still, 8,000 could be hard for some people to get such a limit. But according to their research, this is the line above which you can increase, but nothing more is adding to your happiness. Basically, for this, you need the Dana yogas. Dana is wealth, yogas are the planetary combination, and we can divide them in a few levels. In the Lordship level, normally the ancient Vedic astrology texts are talking about 2nd, 5th, 9th, 11th yogas. Because 2nd and 11th are the wealth in the chart, and 5th and 9th is like the increase, it's the Jupiter, is the Karaka. So whatever you will connect to 5th and 9th, it's like getting the fortune, getting the blessing, it's increased, everything is full of luxury. The 5th and 9th are all about the opulence, you are attracting opulence. And if it's related to 2nd and 11th, it's really about the wealth, about the money. So it's even about the cash, we could say, because 2nd is your bank, it's what you collect. Arudha level, as it was already taught, it has to be connected to exalted or debilitated or Atmakaraka. On the yoga level, we have this Venus and Moon. If that is related to 10th house, especially 10th in Navamsha, we have a very strong yoga. I have one example of one rapper from Poland. He's also having the clothing related company, and he's having that beautiful yoga in Rashi and in Navamsha, and that is confirmed, yes, that this person is quite wealthy, and that is very nicely seen in his chart. Now for the Karaka, there are some yogas related to Jupiter and from the Sun. So we have such combinations there, which are taught by Pandit Sanjay Rath. But all that, for the big thing, must be somehow confirmed by the Vargas, divisional charts. Because otherwise there would be a difference between few peoples, they are having 5 minutes apart. One will be very wealthy, one can belong to middle class and so on. So always you can have some yogas in the Rashi and even in the Navamsha which are showing some kind of invitation. Like for example, for some serial killers, it also has to be confirmed by this Varga charts, related to evil, related to your traits or qualities, and so on. So that is especially taught in the Parashara Jyotish course, when in that year when we are learning about the Vargas. And similarly, when it comes to the super wealthy people, there must be also some positions in the Vargas. Yes, that this person, the doors can be really wide open. The next question is about the nodes of the moon, which are Rahu and Ketu. So what it means if they are debilitated or exalted in their charts, and also additionally aspected by Jupiter from the 9th house. That is the question. So already we know that if they are debilitated, they are giving a lot of material wealth. If they are exalted, then it means they are giving you spiritual blessing. Because if Rahu is teaching you spirituality, it could be very hard to transgress from that path. Imagine that girl from the ring, if she is reminding you, you need to do this daily japa, you need to meditate, then it is very hard then go to this evil path, right? So Rahu and Ketu are all about the transgressions point, right? This is always something trans. So you are also transcending the points. You are either transcending advancing in the chakras, or you are transcending the loopholes in the society, and then you are getting the material wealth. So moon is the middle path. You are either going up or down. You are not staying in the middle. So you're either going to that spiritual blessing that we know that Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Srila Prabhupada, they also had very strong notes in the charts, and then they are taking the face or Vishnu or Shiva, and they are providing those blessings. We have this Rahu and Jupiter. So basically this yoga is showing lack of peace if the Rahu is now triggering the Jupiter, if he fights back. But otherwise, the Jupiter Drishti from the good house, like here the 9th house, the Trikona, is giving the protection, is giving the Kavacha, is giving that shelter. So whatever that Jupiter will aspect will be definitely protected. And especially if you will be doing some kind of japa, if you will be doing some form of puja, some form of getting the protection from any metaphysical prayer or something like that, then definitely every house aspected, touched by Jupiter will be protected. So if they are debilitated and aspected by such Jupiter 9th house, then definitely we have a yoga for a very wealthy person. The next question is about the twins. Why we have those strict rules about 3 and 11? Why not just see what is fitting? So there are also people who are not agreeing to that 3-11 rule at all. They are taking the Vargas only. They say that the differences will be in the Vargas. But if you have a long sign and the twins are born 5 minutes apart, then till D20 the charts can be very similar, but we will see that if they had a different, those nurture part, those upbringing part, studies, different job, they separated very early, they will have different life. And also, if we understand what these Vargas from D1 to D12, this physical Vargas mean, we would say that they should also be different because they have different jobs. So the Dashamsa should be different, they have different property, D4 should be different, and so on. So this rule 3 and 11 is really a counter-argument to the St. Augustine, very strong and early argument against astrology, which was saying that astrology doesn't work because twins have the same chart but different lives. So astrology doesn't work. But we are using this rule 3 and 11. So then all these charts, the Rashi chart, Navamsha, all these charts will be different. So there is a special rule to understand which one is the original ascendant, which one is 3 and 11. I've already recorded video about that. You can go to this here. So it's all about pranama. There are 3 pranama. Pranama is the proof. It means what is really convincing you. So also according to the text, different types of people, could be caste, could be psychology type, are convinced by different pramana. So different types of people are convinced by different things. So there are mostly 3 main important. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is adding the 4th one, but normally we have 3. Pratyaksha, Anumana and Shabda. Pratyaksha is before eyes. It is more empiricism. So what is your experience, what you see, what you hear, what your senses are convincing you this is true. Then we have Anumana, this is logic. So we are building those strong systems like Hegel built those systems. And we have the Shabda, which is the authoritative text. In the Middle Ages, it was very strong pramana because it took the authority of the Bible or other spiritual texts, but also using the logic and Anumana. So taking the Shabda, taking the authority of the text or guru should not be taken blindly. First, you should test your guru according to texts. You should apply the research, you should apply the Pratyaksha and Anumana. But when you see that 80, like if we take the Vedic text and we see that 90% of Vargas are properly reflecting the reality, then maybe the D60, the Shastyamsa chart, something we cannot check. Very high chance that that also will reflect the truth, because the source is the same. Similarly here, if we have this conviction that the tradition is giving us, we can depend on tradition, we can depend on that school, it's showing this astrology we are learning and teaching here is very accurate. We are satisfied with that micro, macro relationship, then when we are left with that rule 3 and 11, we have strong arguments, strong belief that this is at least worth checking, right? We can check the rules given by tradition. We can do the research. So it's not about blind faith, but about, it's in fact our comfort, it's our privilege that we have those rules which are laid down, which are always the same. And we are not depending on our intuition, which often there will be many situations when 3 and 11 can really misguide us. For those who are dealing with Parashara Drekana about siblings, when we have 3 and 11, they are different rules, then people who are working with that for rectification or for siblings prediction know that sometimes this can be quite hard. It's very good that we should always take 3rd house for the odd Lagna and 11th house for the even Lagna when the twin chart should be seen. Okay guys, we have few more Jyotish nuggets to share, but if you have found any value in this video, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe because you don't want to miss. We are sharing here these tips and tools of a Shri Achyutananda tradition. So if you are into mastery of this Vedic astrology, then you don't want to miss these videos. And now let's go back to the rest of the questions. The next question is, how much can be read from Rashi and what can be read from the Varga? When we should apply Varga to get information about life of the person. This is very interesting because not much thing is laid down by the Vedic texts about the Vargas. So if someone is using the Vargas and people are doing that in a systematic, methodical way, then there is very high chance that some strong tradition are standing behind them. So that is one of the first tests you can do when you are looking for an astrologer. If they are checking your Navamsha, if they are rectifying your Navamsha and Dashamsa. If they are not doing that, then first of all, they may not coming from a bona fide tradition, and the second point is that without rectifying chart, it will be very hard to answer questions about the marriage or career life and so on, because you need to confirm with the Navamsha and Dashamsa. So the text Sharavali, we have those very famous stanza which says that without the Vargas you cannot do even one step into astrology. So my Guruji V. Larsen, he is giving that allegory of the supermarket, that in the Rashi you have still a lot of choice, right? Even we can look at that not only from perspective of choice, but from perspective of yogas, because in Rashi chart there could be many options. One point which is showing something can be related to many planets. So you may have 10 from the moon, you may have 3 planets there. So in one chart, this planet will give the results. In another chart, this planet will give the results. So it may not be always choice, but in that situation of multiple options, that one was chosen. Maybe not by you, maybe by the Vargas. So it could be determined, but the Vargas will tell you which planet among those is the right one. I'm also giving the allegory of movie, right? When you're looking at the movie, sometimes the camera is only on that person, and then it's like a Rashi. And different things from the environment can happen to him, and we will only see his face, right? His reaction. So this is like predicting from the Rashi. But if you zoom out a little bit, if you have this wide angle lens and you see the whole scenario, then you have Rashi and the Varga. You have the person, and also you know what is causing those different facial expressions. The other allegory would be of the 2D perspective of view and 3D, right? So if you only see from the top, let's say you have a 10-story building and you are seeing it from the top, you can see, for example, you take the lines where the protagonists are going, then you have some figures. But you cannot see the order, what is happening between those stories, between those floors, right? Only when you have the big perspective from the top, but also you see from the side, then you can see, oh, this neighbor is here, he caused this, they came together to afflict that one guy in the middle, right? So only with the Vargas you can understand how which planet was doing what. right? Only the Varga will give you that three-dimensional view, which is so important if you want to build some story, what's really going on. And the next question is about the adopted kids and also the grandchildren. So first of all, we see that the age, now the average age for a woman to bear the first child, now it's 31, and in 1900 it was 22. So we see the big difference is there. For the grandkids, we are taking the 5th from the 5th, so it's 9th house. For the ladies, we can use the 9th from the 9th, which is the 5th house. And in the Saptamsha, because the Saptamsha, the chart of children, but also grandchildren, you can also see the 5th from the 5th, because it's like a child of the child. For adopted children, you need to see the yoga Mercury, Saturn, or Saturn Rahu, Saturn Mars. These are the yoga which we are paying attention. Very often the Saturn will be involved, related to the house or lord of the kids, 5th or the 9th. This is also a very interesting way to see the difference between the house or lord and Karaka, because the house and lord will be the same. It's the 5th house here, because that is showing our relationship, the role, and our in the hierarchy, the dynamism between the two people, right? So if it's biological child, it's adopted or student, it would be the same. But the substance between the biological adopted and the student can be quite different. Therefore, the yogas, the planets which are involved also will be quite different. But the house will be the same, because the relationship you have, way you approach the person, the interrelation between those two people will be very similar. Okay guys, so that's gonna be it for today. I hope you find this video interesting and informative. If you do, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up. For one-on-one session, you can find my email here. Join our Discord community. You can find the email in the description. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and for more videos like this, you can consider watching this one.